This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
The remake of RoboCop.
Yep.
Which I think a lot of people are excited about. But you're saying don't get too excited.
Well, yeah. I mean, just to start off with a brief synopsis of it, it's not necessarily too much of a remake. It's more of an adaptation, which is, I think, the right course of action because the original RoboCop was a little too cheesy, you know, kind of par for the course at the time. But nowadays, they tried to give it a little bit more of a political and more grand scheme sort of twist to it. So basically, Omnicorp is this corporation, billion-dollar corporation that creates robots that essentially is responsible for public safety everywhere except the United States. So that's where the discussion comes in and the debate, and that they try to involve some ethics and morality in whether or not robots can effectively defend humans and whether or not they don't feel any remorse, they don't feel any emotion. So is that the right course of action for them to be responsible for human life? So that's a basic synopsis of it, of Omnicorp, and then basically when RoboCop comes in, it's this cop, Alex Murphy, who kind of undergoes this debilitating sort of injury that really limits him and also pretty much puts him right at the borderline of death. So in order to save him and kind of make him effective and kind of make him the face of Omnicorp, they make him RoboCop. So after that brief synopsis of it, my interpretation of the movie, I think it was okay. You know, for this kind of movie, it's an action movie. You don't expect anything too much from it. As long as it's entertaining and there are a lot of special effects, production value is really good, and a few of the actors did really well.
So with it, I know that it's like, you know, set in, what is it, 2028 or something
not
like
too
that?
distant future,
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, it's not too distant away. Like, do you think that they're touching on that, like, sort of reality of, like, maybe this, obviously we're not going to expect RoboCops by then, but you never know. But, you know, back with Back to the Future and stuff, when they did 2015, you know, we're starting to kind of see those kind of things. Do you think that they should have set it maybe down the line, maybe 2050, 2085, or?
It makes sense, but I think one of the reasons why they did it in 2020 was to kind of keep it grounded in reality, because you can't get too crazy. Then you're starting to get into, like, you know, the super sci-fi, Tron sort of stage of technology.
Now, when you say super sci-fi, and I think about it as super sci-fi, in some movies, super sci-fi movies I like, and some of them I'm just like, oh, that's a little too much. Where is that border with this one? Is everybody going to like this movie, or is it really like geeked out, like too much technology?
It's not too geeked out. It's not too geeked out. Like I said, they tried to really ground it in reality too much. So, you know, in the original RoboCop, you had some action scenes that were ridiculous, you know, but it was fun for the time. So this version is a little bit less tongue-in-cheek, and like I said, a little more grounded in reality, but it kind of creates a more realistic feel to it. But you also lose some of that appeal of the original, of having it being so over the top, so crazy, you know. So it was kind of in between for me in terms of how the movie kind of portrayed itself.
All right, so out of 5 stars, what are you giving it?
I would give it 3 stars, simply because it's a good action movie. Like I said, a lot of good production value, a lot of good action scenes. Visually, it was very appealing, but in terms of the performances and especially the lead, I hate to say it because I don't necessarily mean to intend to do this pun, but it was a little bit robotic in terms of his performance. Pun not intended. It's just more a lack of a better word on my part. But overall, pretty decent movie.
3 out of 5 stars.
3 out of 5. Yep.
All right. Thanks for that. We'll be right
problem.
back.